Why scientists are saying this could become the new normal.
And we're on your side with tips on how to stay healthy in areas with air pollution on the eve of International Day of Clean Air.
Plus, how one Prague farmer was able to save his pumpkin patch just in time for fall.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle.
And tonight we've got a lot to talk about. Tania, we had another hurricane form in the Atlantic Basin today.
Yes, so fast, Lauren, and it's actually going to intensify even quicker. It's expected to be a major hurricane as early as this weekend.
Yeah, so we've got to keep a close eye on Lee, but we've also got to keep a close eye in our own backyard because we've had a few thunderstorms. We have some great views of them here up on Red Mountain. We always love our views out here, but definitely still the potential for storms for your dinner plans tonight, Tania.
Yes, absolutely. And listen, we'll be here all night long tracking them and giving you the latest. There's still the possibility for a few severe storms as we continue throughout your Wednesday evening. So, of course, we're going to talk about it right here on First Alert Weather Extra.
We are, and we're also going to talk about the cold front on the way because that's what I think everybody wants to hear about.
Absolutely. Fall season is around the corner.
Is it going to get? And Tania and I were talking earlier. It's like, okay, time for some pumpkin spice lattes.
Absolutely. Hot, ice, either way, we're going to take it both.
We are. We will take both. So let's get a look right now before the front comes through. The storms we have to deal with first. Looking at First Alert AccuTrack this evening, we do have some storms that have been moving across the area. Just a few storms. Now, I will say most of the storms in our neck of the woods have not been severe, but notice that we are beginning to see more storms showing up in northeast Mississippi that are now pushing into northwest Alabama. And where you see the pink highlighted on First Alert AccuTrack, that's where we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 11 p.m. That has yet to be extended into northwest Alabama. We'll see if that happens, but thus far we've only seen one severe thunderstorm a couple of hours ago in Walker County, and that fizzled out really quickly as it moved towards I-2059. So we'll zoom in on some of the spots that we're seeing some storms. We're watching this one storm right now moving through northeastern Tuscaloosa County. You can see around Sandtown, Wiley, up towards Pea Ridge. Even Pea Ridge, the rain is gone, but the lightning is still coming down. Some pretty intense lightning, almost 40 lightning strikes with the storm within the past 30 minutes. And this is going to be pushing to the south and east towards Driftwood, Bull City, Ezra, Mud Creek. We'll give you a first alert for the potential to see some heavy downpours and intense lightning, possibly some small hail where you see the returns here showing up pink. That could indicate not just some heavy rainfall, but possibly some small hail. And then we also have some storms coming into northwest Alabama in Marion County, Hamilton, getting pounded with some very heavy rain and intense lightning right now. The thing is, as this storm slides along I-22, notice this little feature that's formed out ahead of it. That is an outflow boundary. That to me says that as these storms have been moving into Alabama, they're beginning to weaken a little bit because instead of having that warm, humid air rising up inside of the storm and being dominated by that, we're beginning to see that cooler air moving to the south of the storm, and that can help to stabilize the air out ahead of it, and maybe storms out ahead of it wouldn't be as robust. But looking at that activity here over the next 60 minutes, we'll continue to watch more storms around this evening, and these storms, a few of them could be on the strong side. I think the severe threat, though, will be very isolated in nature. Just look out for some heavy downpours, lightning, possibility of some strong wind gusts and hail. We'll continue to track the storms coming up in a bit. Tania?
Well, Lauren, all this active weather isn't just affecting us here at home. We're also checking in Brazil, where a powerful cyclone in the southern region has left hundreds displaced and at least 27 dead. It made landfall in the region starting Monday night and dumped more than 11 inches, of rain in less than 24 hours. Heavy winds and rising rivers caused extreme damage, leaving many to flee for higher ground. The country's National Institute of Meteorology has warned that more rainfall is on the way, and authorities saying that the warming climate made the intense rainfall more likely. And as summer comes to a close, sadly, but hey, listen, we're excited for fall, like me and Lauren said earlier. It's leaving as Earth's hottest on record, and scientists say we could see more summers just like this one. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Paukott has more.
Heavy rain pummeling parts of Europe this week, flooding streets and homes and causing multiple fatalities. The severe weather coming towards the end of a summer that saw deadly storms and record-breaking temperatures across the globe.
Even 99 degrees is still cooler than 105.
Scientists say this summer was the Earth's hottest on record. In a statement, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns, quote, "The dog days of summer are not just barking, they are biting. Climate breakdown has begun."
We've got low pressure and everything is just staying where it is, hence the reason why we could see temperatures really in excess of 30 degrees Celsius for as long as 6 days consecutively.
According to the World Meteorological Organization, last month capped off summer as the hottest August ever recorded, with temperatures nearly 3 degrees warmer than pre-industrial averages. It also marked the second warmest month ever measured, just behind this past July. Scientists blame the heat on a combination of El Nino and the burning of coal and natural gas. And they warn the planet will only become warmer if human-related climate change continues.
It's driven by continued increases in concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So the three main greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide, they all reached record observed highs.
Scientists say so far that 2023 is the second hottest year on record, just behind 2016. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
And so important that we talk about climate change here on Weather Extra. Well, more than 50 people are under heat advisories in the Northeast. Back here at home, high temperatures could reach up to 100 degrees in some areas, which is about 15 to 25 degrees above normal for this time of year. And in the Mid-Atlantic, heat indices could hit the triple digits. Baltimore has already seen 3 consecutive days of record heat. Conditions are set to improve by Friday as a cold front moves in. Same one coming our way, actually. Well, still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, Americans weigh in on the effects of climate change and what that could mean for future generations.
And also on First Alert Weather Extra, we're talking more about this active hurricane season. We're going to dive into when we're expecting that drier air to filter in for us here at home. And hey, listen, I hear an animal story in our forecast. Flamingo migration, what's that about? You're going to have to find out. Stay with us right here on First Alert Weather Extra.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into Good Day, Alabama.
A new morning comes with preparing right, because while you slept, news broke.
We have new information from that breaking news that happened this morning.
While you head out, the storm we gave you the first alert for is on its way in. And as the key turns the ignition,
Because of a crash,
a new morning means everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama, always on your side.
The First Alert traffic you need to get you there safe and on time. Tomorrow morning, everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama.
You're late, out the door, and on the go. Don't worry.
Good Day, Alabama continues all morning long.
And wherever you watch, this is what you need to know right now.
More reporters on the streets with more hours of news when you need it. Everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather. Good Day Alabama has all the information you need to plan the day ahead.
That's why we're in your neighborhood every morning, making sure you're prepared. When you hit the roads, we're on your side, helping you get to your destination on time and getting you back to your routine.
With everything you need to keep you and your family safe.
Trust your day with the largest morning team on your side.
So you can have a
good day, Alabama!
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan. The Atlantic Ocean has been ripe with activity as we head into the peak of hurricane season this weekend. We check in with meteorologist Matt Daniel now, who joined us earlier this morning for an update on the tropics.
Well, the Atlantic hurricane season has been pretty active, and it's pretty common for this time of the year. I want to show you the climatology of when we normally see the activity in the Atlantic, and it really peaks here in early and mid-September. So that's where we're at, and so no surprise that we've seen numerous storms. Note that the conditions start to go downhill a little bit and less activity by the time we go into late October, November, and officially ends on November 30th. I do want to mention all these names we've seen. Of course, we had Arlene all the way to Lee, and we could see Margot coming up shortly with that tropical wave in the eastern Atlantic. But as you can see, we've had about 12 named storms. You have to remind yourself we had an unnamed storm that also was added onto the list that happened in January. So where are we when it comes to climatology? Has the season been very active? Well, it's definitely above average. Look at those dates. Normally around this time we would have about 7 or 8 named storms. So we're already well above that. And normally by November 18th, we would have 14. So this is based on average. So if we had an average season, we'd have maybe 12 to 14 named storms, with the last storm happening in the middle parts of November. What about hurricanes? Well, usually we'll see our first hurricane on August 11th, and we would be on 3 hurricanes by September 7th. But we've already had 3 already. And of course, Lee's going to be a hurricane as well, and that would be 4. So we're already ahead of that as well. So it's just active. And of course, we have the Saffir-Simpson scales based off the winds. And you know, we've been talking about Lee drastically ramping up in strength and intensity. It is forecast to be a Cat 4, could be a Cat 5. And just a reminder, to be a Cat 4, it's got to have winds over 130. It becomes a Category 5, anything over 157. So yes, a hurricane that has winds at 170, 175 will still be a Category 5. There's no such thing as a Category 6, even though you may have heard that on social media. So, of course, Lee is out in the east central Atlantic, which is very far away. And I just want to give you an idea when it comes to the approximation based off the average storm motion of about 10 to 15 miles per hour. These kind of storms, when they're out where Lee's at, it takes about 8+ days to get to anywhere close to the continental United States. When it gets closer to the Lesser Antilles, it's about 6 to 7 days away from the United States. And then when you get into the yellow area, for instance, where Puerto Rico is, that's within 4 to 5 days. And we're thinking that's where Lee's going to be, just north of Puerto Rico as we go into the weekend. But of course, the question is, where will Lee go? It's all about the steering environments, where high pressures are, where low pressures are. And if there's a ridge building to the north of Lee, as we go into next week, there could be a chance it could impact the East Coast. So we're not going to rule out an East Coast threat. Definitely not going to rule out a threat for Bermuda, but we still have plenty of time, as you just saw in that graphic before this, on tracking Lee. So we'll be watching this going into the weekend and next week. But yes, the hurricane season has been pretty active, and it looks like it's going to keep going as we go into the middle and end of September.
Great information there. And as Matt mentioned, we will be keeping a close eye on Hurricane Lee as it continues to rapidly intensify in the Atlantic Ocean. The unusually warm waters in the Atlantic will help Lee become a major hurricane, possibly becoming a Category 4 on Saturday. The National Hurricane Well, tomorrow is the International Day of Clean Air, but the world hasn't seen too much of it lately. The World Health Organization says more than 90% of the world's population has been exposed to unhealthy air, and nearly 7 million deaths around the world were related to air pollution. Our Jonathan Hardison is on your side with apps and tricks that can help you avoid those health risks.
The raging wildfires in Western Canada have wiped out more than 2 million acres of land in
Smoke from wildfires in Canada made New York, Detroit, and Chicago look like a third world country.
We had dangerously high levels of wildfire smoke from thousands of miles away.
But not all pollutants you can see so clearly. Toxins from factories and cars linger in our air and can impact every organ in your body, causing everything from headaches and anxiety to asthma, COPD, lung cancer, and breast cancer. It can also cause infertility and strokes. So it's important to know the state of your air quality before you go outside. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, offers services that can tell, even predict the air quality. One is the Air Now program. They measure the air quality with an air quality index with 6 categories. 0 to 50 is good, 51 to 100 is moderate, 101 to 150 is unhealthy for sensitive groups, 151 to 200 is unhealthy, and 201 to 300 very unhealthy, and 301 to 500 considered hazardous. Other ways to monitor air quality: download one of these 3 apps on your phone. If the air quality is unsafe, you can stay inside or wear an N95 mask. And when you're inside, run an air purifier and even add a HEPA air filter to your HVAC system.
Thanks for that, Jonathan. And we also, if we have poor air quality here in Birmingham, we send out alerts like that on the First Alert Weather app, so make sure you download that one too. And more interesting information from Jonathan. It looks like your genes may also play a role in how badly air quality impacts you. A study found people with specific gene variants were more likely to suffer from lung inflammation and asthma if they lived close to busy roads. Tania?
Well, Lauren, as we talk about how active this hurricane season has been, it leads us to the topic of how 1/5 of Americans think climate change will make it more difficult to live in their area. This is according to the new poll. The highest number of people who believe this to be true live in the West, where there have been wildfires, drought, and torrential rains. In general, nearly 40% of responders to the poll say climate change is negatively affecting their everyday life. And 20% still aren't sure if climate change is actually happening. Climate change is also taking a huge toll on major theme parks due to extreme weather. This includes Six Flags, SeaWorld, Disney World, and even Canada's Cedar Fair. As extreme weather such as deadly flooding, record-breaking heat, and Canada's wildfires gripped North America, it caused attendance at these theme parks to take a huge decline. And to cope with this new reality, theme parks are building more indoor rides and changing ticket policies. Alrighty, well, you're still watching First Alert Weather Extra. Coming up, we're going to be talking more about what's going on with weather across our world, and we also have that flamingo story. But before we go, let's take a look at today's almanac.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado-safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
The First Alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. We're still tracking the potential for a few strong to severe storms tonight. You can see the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted that main area where a storm would be more likely to turn strong or severe, and that is going to be north and west of I-2059. Now, we know how Mother Nature works. Doesn't always like our little hand-drawn maps. So the one spot we've actually seen a severe thunderstorm warning in our area today was right here outside of that in Walker and Jefferson County. It dissipated quickly, but if we do see a strong to severe storm move in tonight, the main concern will be, of course, that it could produce some heavy rain or frequent lightning, but also some strong wind gusts and large hail. So that's the severe outlook for tonight. As far as rain coverage, I still think the best chance to see some storms is going to be across northwest Alabama. And you notice as we go further to the south and east, for example, if you live in northeast Alabama, east central Alabama, your chances tonight to see rain are going to be lower because it's expected that as these storms move in, they'll gradually begin to dissipate. But as far as that futurecast, let's check here. And I will say it's a little bit off. So this is showing 7 o'clock tonight, and we've already seen those storms moving in along I-22. So just keep in mind, this is off by about an hour or so. So storms will continue to push southeast towards I-2059, possibly seeing a strong storm in west central Alabama over the next couple of hours. But you'll see as those storms push eastward, they really begin to fade away. Now, that's not to say we couldn't see some isolated storms overnight, but I think that severe threat will wane after sunset. You lose that energy, and so storms just wouldn't be as robust. And then as we go into tomorrow, starting off pretty nice temperatures still in the upper 60s, low 70s, but we'll get that drier air filtering in behind our next big thing, the front, and that's going to help to lower humidity and make for some nice sunshine tomorrow. Some spots won't even manage to hit 90 degrees. So for the bus stop forecast in the morning, the kids will not need their rain gear, and they probably won't need a pumpkin spice latte either. But adults, you can treat yourself like Tania and I will be doing. Highs tomorrow, like I said, going to get close to 90 degrees. There will be a few passing clouds, but it's going to feel really good as that lower humidity creeps its way back in. And we can see that here on our Muggy meter. What this is showing you is dew points, not the actual air temperature. So dew points tell us how much moisture is in the atmosphere. So when you see dew points getting farther down into the 60s, even the 50s, that's pretty comfortable. So it looks like it will be a little bit more comfortable as we go into the weekend. Now Friday, we've got sideline going on. So for high school football games, check it out. Not too bad. I'm not saying you need to make a pot of chili just yet. It's not going to be that cool. We don't want to get too dramatic about it, but temperatures in the 70s and no chance of rain. I think we will certainly take it. Looking good. And for college football heading into the weekend. Well, changing gears here, as we all know, droughts can be troubling for agriculture, but for one fall crop, it may have actually helped production. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield has more.
All's quiet on this New Prague farm, but not for long.
And nature tells him to grow upside down so he doesn't hold water here.
Fran Barton,
I can kind of tell this one will end up being a white one,
and her son Joe are feeling out the harvest. And
what's your emotion as you look right now?
Oh, sheer surprise and joy, and I don't even know if I can express it.
For a while, though, things were looking bleak.
After about 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, only about 5 or 10% had germinated. So that's not very good.
90% of those pumpkins started about 3 weeks late, which was scary for this pumpkin picking family with 11 kids and 41 grandkids.
And to me, I think the biggest joy is just seeing my family being so happy out here and being together. But the second joy is passing that on to people who have not been in the country.
And now they know that they will be able to once again invite droves of guests out to the country. Thankfully, the hardy, deep-rooted crop doesn't need much water once it starts growing.
Oh, isn't he just absolutely beautiful?
It's pretty fortunate that with the little rain that we got, things are looking this good.
And the weather seemed to dry up a pesky problem.
I did not see one squash beetle this year. No bugs.
But there are plenty of pumpkins in plenty of colors, shapes, and sizes, planted with love.
What is your hope with every pumpkin that they take home with them?
That it brings them some joy, and I think it brings families together. It does ours. Who would have thought that pumpkins would do all that?
Man, those are some big old pumpkins. Well, the Bartons also say the cooler nights this week in the forecast will help make the pumpkins easier to pick. Yes, always easier to pick when it's not ridiculously hot outside. Tania?
All right, well, check this out. People around the Southeast and even as far as Ohio and Kentucky are seeking pink. You know what that means, pink flamingos, that is. They're commonly found in tropical places, so it's not unusual to see them in Florida, where they have been spotted there lately. But for places in the Midwest, it's not so common. The leading theory for their arrival is that they were moved by Hurricane Idalia as they traveled through the Caribbean. Scientists say many of them headed north to escape the weather, leaving many in these places hoping they are there to stay.
Oh my goodness, they are so cute.
So cute, and you're matching them.
You know, bit of a flamingo girl myself. And you look like a bright, beautiful canary.
Oh, I love that.
Or Big
that
Bird
on my
you know.
Facebook too. No, seriously. She was
Really?
like, "You look like a canary." I'm not even kidding you. I
That's
screenshotted
so
it.
sweet. Tania has the disposition of a canary, I would say. You're very nice and friendly and happy.
So are you.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, let's get to that 7-day forecast, Tania.
Okay.
So Tania and I have been talking about how excited we are about this cold front. So that's going to be coming in overnight. And as that cold front comes in, we have a few storms out ahead of it, but it does look like as we head towards the weekend, going to be drier. The best part are the 60s in the forecast.
Ooh.
Pretty pumped about it.
I'm not. Ooh, well, I am.
Tania likes her boots, though. Tania likes boots, so
I
get out
do.
her boots.
But see, I was more pumped if those 60s would be like here. Like
Right,
70s
that's true.
here.
Right.
So.
I mean, 60s for lows, like, okay, that's
We'll
fine.
take it.
Yeah, but I mean, in
What
a
am I
couple
supposed to do?
months, I know. Well, you can't do much. But as Tania showed us last week, you can break out your fall boots and
Let them make an appearance at night, okay? For your outings, your Friday night outings, pop out the boots. There you go.
Pop out the boots. That's what we have a first alert for, Tania. Popping out the boots as we get
Every
into
night
the
this
weekend.
through the weekend.
There you go. Well, you can always join us here on First Alert Weather Extra every weeknight at 6:30, and Tania will be going live after Fox 6 News coming up next week. Have a safe and happy Wednesday.
Wednesday.
evening.